Hello, everyone. We're just going to give people a minute to slowly get in. Welcome to our How to Rank Number One on Google Masterclass. As you're coming in, if you could just introduce yourself in the chat and just tell us the type of business that you run and even the name. You can even go ahead and throw in your Instagram handles if you want people to have a chance to check you out. If you could just go ahead and start throwing those in the chat, that would be helpful. So we can also get a gauge of where everyone's from, what kind of business they're running, and making sure that we are adjusting as we go to tailor to your business needs. All right, so we have a lot to cover today, so I'm actually just going to go ahead and jump in and get started. Okay. All right, can you guys see my screen okay?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Just move all the Zoom features out of the way. Okay. So welcome. I am Courtney. I am a digital agency veteran. I have 19 years of experience in marketing, ranging from powerhouses like Google, Amazon, and Wayfair, all the way down to your local daycare. And now I'll hand it over to Kelly. Let her introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Kelly. I am a seasoned entrepreneur with firsthand experience in all areas of digital marketing, with deep understanding of the importance of inbound marketing, specifically for businesses of all sizes. I've worn every hat imaginable, from CEO to delivery driver, and single-handedly, I built my first business to $5 million a year in revenue in less than 3 years. So, masterclass structure. Court's going to be taking the lead predominantly in terms of the actual presentation. I am here to support if anybody needs, and I'm also here for the Q&A and whatnot. So the way the structure of the masterclass is going to work today, we're going to start with a deep dive into Google SEO for about 30 minutes, and then we'll invite you to join our 4-week Market Like a CMO workshop, and we'll wrap up with a Q&A to answer any questions. To be sure, please be sure to add any questions into the chat so that we can try to get them all answered. And we'll be sure to send a recording of the webinar to everyone in the next few days, just in case you missed anything or there's anything that you want to revisit.
All right. All right, so what you'll learn today, I am going to walk you through simple SEO strategies to rank number one that will help you double your organic traffic, attract more customers for free, while saving time and getting results and avoiding common mistakes. So let's dive in because we have a lot to cover. So SEO basics. I didn't want to assume that everyone here knows what SEO is, so we'll just briefly go into the basics of SEO and then we'll dive into the actual strategies. So real quick, SEO is search engine optimization. It's the changes you put on your site that help these search engines and the crawlers that scan your website to show you in the search engines how to find your site and what your site is all about. That way, they can show it to people that are searching related topics. So why does SEO matter? Showing up higher in search results means more people can see it. More people can see it is more visibility. More visibility results in more visitors, more customer, and more sales. And this includes local SEO. And I'm not just talking about local SEO for people that have brick and mortar locations, but this actually even applies to virtual businesses that don't necessarily have a storefront or a local physical presence. We'll get into that throughout the course. I did see in the signups that there were a fair number of local businesses, so I did make sure to include a section on that. And then on top of that, a big mistake people make is they don't understand that SEO actually impacts the cost that you pay on your ads, on Google Ads. So for instance, your cost per click that you might pay on an ad or your cost per lead is actually also a result of your quality score. Your quality score is impacted by your SEO. So if you have top SEO and the search algorithms, because essentially paid or organic, it's both an algorithm. If that algorithm has all the details it needs to know everything about your site, then you're going to pay less because the algorithms are able to understand exactly where you fit and for what terms you should be showing up for. So essentially, Google rewards you from using SEO from not just an organic perspective and showing you on the organic side, but also charging you less from a paid ad side. And that's something people really don't understand very often. And a mistake we see is that they jump straight to ads. And we even had a client that jumped straight to ads, ran Google ads. We came in, saw the lack of an SEO infrastructure on their site. We were like, hold on, pump the brakes, pause. We turned off the ads. We revamped their entire SEO to be in line with all the best practices. Then we turned on those same ads, and their ROI went from a 3.75 on the ads before we did the SEO to an 11.75 after, because the algorithms were able to fully understand all the details of the site, and they were charged less. They were able to get more traffic and more customers and get in front of their right target audience as a result. So it doesn't just pay dividends from an organic perspective, but it'll also translate over into your paid ads perspective. So it's absolutely crucial. All right. So SEO ranking factors. There are 4 major factors that go into your SEO. Your on page, so the stuff on your website. Your off page SEO, so the stuff outside of your website. Your technical website stuff, and then your user experience. So how easy your site is to use, but not only from just the user experience perspective, but from the user as in the crawler that is scanning your website and indexing it into the search engines, into that algorithm, from their perspective as well. They need to understand how the entire web of your website interconnects, what all these pages are about, and how and where and who to serve it to. Okay, so now let's dive into the actual SEO best practices and strategies to get you to number 1. So the first thing you always want to do with SEO is keyword research. This is critical. It's to help you understand your audience. It'll help you with assessing your competitive landscape, and not just what terms are your competitors showing up for, but what are they not showing up for? Where are our opportunity gaps that we can capitalize on and maybe take over a certain part of the market that isn't even being touched, or find a way in which we can adjust our product for a product that doesn't exist. Then,
or if I can interject real quick, I think one of my favorite things that we found was a company who didn't realize that the majority of their customers and certain people searching them spelled the company's name wrong. And by just having the back end and the technical SEO reading the wrong one as well as the right one, their SEO skyrocketed, and they just didn't realize to have a search keyword of their own brand name spelled incorrectly.
Yeah. Okay. So effective keywords help you increase your brand visibility, attract that relevant traffic, understand market trends. And I'll show you this in a second, because in something like Google Keyword Planner, you can actually see whether a key term the search volume for is trending upwards or downwards. And you obviously always want to go with the upwards where possible. So you can understand what is actually an up and coming keyword versus not. And then it'll also do what everyone always wants, to outrank your competitor. So first thing I'm going to do is show you some keyword SEO, keyword research tools to develop your keyword research list. Then I will tell you what to do with all of those tools. So let's dive over to, we're going to start over here. We are on the Google Keyword Planner. So this is in Google Ads. You can go ahead and sign up for a free Google Ads account. And then once you're in, you can go over to Tools and the Keyword Planner. You want to hit Discover New Keywords. And here you can start with your website as well as your competitors. And what you can do is you can just type in, we'll do screws in and stilettos.com as an example for us. So you just type in that website and you press get results. And this will tell you all of the keywords that the algorithms are saying are relevant to your site. So these are keywords that you should be, or you want to be showing up for. In our case, we do marketing consulting and business consulting, and we are right in line with exactly where we should be. But this is where I was also talking about where you can see the market trends. So something like marketing consultants, obviously that looks like it's on the up and up, whereas marketing business, it looks like it's been a downward trend over the last year. I probably wouldn't, number one, spend more money on it. Number two, I wouldn't necessarily focus my SEO on that. I would try to focus on those things that are upward trending. So this is great for being able to not only pull a list of those terms that you want to make sure that are relate to the content on your site and you want to be showing up for and leveraging throughout all of your SEO, again, on-site and off-site. But you can also do this for your competitors, so you can see what terms they're showing up for and see if there's opportunity for you to get in there. I will get into in a moment, but the competition is where you really want to look at that. When something's a low competition and it's trending upward, that to me is a word that you actually want to leverage in the future. So the next tool I'm going to show you is SEMrush. SEMrush is a paid tool. It's not free like the keyword planner, but if you're just using it for keyword research purposes, they do a 7-day trial. So I'm going to show you two tools within this. The first is the keyword magic tool over on the left-hand side. You type in your key term. So for us, it's marketing consulting, and then it gives you all various recommended terms that you could use based on volume. You could sort it however you want. But the key thing to also take a look at here is what the customer intent is here, because as much as it's great to get traffic, you also want to make sure you are targeting terms that will drive customers. So you don't always want to do with someone that terms that just are like people investigating brands, which is what the commercial is, or people that just want information, answers to questions. You want to make sure that this T, the transactional, people that are ready to convert, are terms you're also targeting. So you really want to take a look at the people that the customer intent is they're ready to purchase. The second tool within SEMrush is magic tool is right here. So just going up to the keyword gap. This is also great for a competitive landscape outlook or overlook. So in this example, we use runtheedge.com. Then you put in various other competitors. You can either decide the competitors or you can hit the drop down and it will actually provide like competitors that it suggests based on what you put as the root domain, which is your domain. Then underneath that, you can see all the various terms that apply, in this case, to Run the Edge, to this company site, and then how you rank versus your competitors in the search engine. So ranking is, are you in the first position, second spot, third spot, and so on. So for instance, Run the Year 2024, Run the Edge shows up in the number one position, but Race the Distance shows up in 27, 28. If I were Race the Distance or Challenge in Motion, then this could be an opportunity where I could try and capitalize it, that sort of thing. You can also do the drop down to just take a look at what they're specifically, each competitor specifically showing up for, just like you would have done in the keyword planner here. Again, this is a paid tool, but if you want to just use it for the purposes of the keyword research for the 7-day trial, it's perfectly acceptable. Another area we're going to collect more keywords is in Google Search Console. So if you already have a site live and you are already getting traffic, I'm going to actually remove the comparison real quick. So you can see here what traffic looks like for this website over time. And what this is your organic traffic. So how you are showing up organically in the search results. You could see impressions, which is every time someone saw your listing. And then you have clicks, the number of times that they clicked on your organic listing. What you can take a look at too is how those things are trending over time. And this is where the comparison comes in. Super easy, just set whatever date you want. If you have a lot of clicks to your website, I would sort by clicks and use that as your metric of your number one metric of priority. But if you don't have a lot of traffic, if you're new to a site, you can go by impressions. But take a look at what the difference looks like, for instance, the last 3 months over the prior 3, to see where the trends are and where you're seeing drop off or increase. This will identify opportunities for you to create more content around things. So if you're seeing a big drop off on one term, but you actually really want to be showing up for that, that tells you that you need to create more content around it, because with anything, Google wants fresh, high quality content. And if you aren't constantly giving it fresh, high quality content, then your rankings will decrease. Kel, I hopefully you remember this metric, but we had a client recently that basically stopped doing any SEO. They kind of looked at SEO as like, oh, I did it, now I'm good. And their rankings significantly
from May of last year to June of this year, their search impressions went down 60%, even for their own brand and everything. And it predominantly was based on the blog impressions, and the homepage impressions went down substantially because they wasn't fresh.
And that's what happens is a lot of people think SEO is aesthetic and forget it, and it's not. But I don't want to overwhelm you with like, oh my God, I'm going to have to do these things all the time. We're going to show you some tips at the end on how to automate some of this stuff so you're not having to create things fresh from the beginning all day, every day. All right.
And please don't fall in the trap where you think you have to hire an SEO agency that's going to say that they need to do this all the time, every day for you. You can do it in so many different ways without needing that.
And we're here to help you. So one thing that we'll talk about later on is the workshop. And in that workshop, we can also help show you how to set these things up on automation and get it set up for you. So that way you're not burning yourself out over trying to keep up with everything. Okay, so the last area we're going to collect keywords is if you are, this is for people that already have run Google Ads. You are going to go over to your campaign under Insights and Reports, and you're going to do search terms. These are the terms people actually typed in that resulted in your ad showing. Here you can see how much you spent on all those. This is, for instance, is just showing one account. It's just the month of July. But what you really want to look at are your conversion rates, your clicks, and that click-through rate. So these happen to be very high click-through rates. I believe on the next slide, we actually have an ideal click-through rate set up for you. So 2 to 5% is a good click-through rate. These are just much higher, but you want to take a look at those terms that have high click-through rates versus low click-through rates, or high conversion rates versus low conversion rates, and capitalize on those things. So if you are trying to target a term that actually has like 0.1% click-through rate, that just might tell you that your product marketing is just not fully aligning, and maybe you need to go back and revisit the way that you speak about your product. Okay. So now what do you do with all these key terms that you're going to collect? If you sign up for the workshop, you will also get access to our Market Like a CMO course. Kelly will tell you a little bit about that at the end, but in that there's templates and guides throughout every section. But 2 of these templates are the market keyword research templates and one-pagers. So let me show you quickly what that would look like. So in the template, essentially from all the different platforms that we've just talked about, you want to fill in a number of the key terms that you feel relate to your business. This is going to be a mix of branded, meaning that includes your product name or your brand name. Unbranded, you want long tail, which means it's usually over 3 words. Short tail, which is 1, 2, or 3 words. And then just broad and narrow. So you want a healthy mix, because essentially what you're trying to do here is make sure that you're not just you don't want to just go after a word that has like 150,000 terms, because if you're a brand new business, you can also capitalize and get traffic from phrases that maybe only searched 1,000 times a month. And those people might actually be looking for something really specific, and that might be a customer intent word where the person's ready to purchase. And you're better off actually targeting that 1,000 search volume term where the customer is ready to purchase than you are trying to just get masses in with the 150,000 term. So you want to make sure you have a healthy mix. You want some growth, but you want to also get targeted, and you want to make sure that you're bringing in people that are actually going to convert. So what you're going to do, you're going to combine all of this. You're going to head back over into the keyword planner, and I'll actually show you real quick. Get search volume. You're going to dump that entire long list that you've just created into here, and it will spit out all of the details that you're seeing right here. So the average search volume, what the last 3 months change is, the year-over-year change. You want to look at those terms that have low and medium competition and look for opportunities for you to be able to create content around them. Then what you're going to do is, because generally this will be much longer than a 100 keyword list, you're going to narrow it down to 100 keywords. These are going to be your holy grail. I like to then sync up the document to a one-pager. So this actually autofills from that Excel. In case I ever change anything, it'll just automatically populate here. But this is a one-sheeter that I do for every single client, and we print it out. And this is then what we make sure that we use these terms throughout our site everywhere. Again, this is just an example, but a long tail term would be how to get started with blockchain. Short tail would be blockchain security. But these longer tail ones, these are exact titles that you could use for different blogs or different sections of your site. And those can actually, those are people that might be a little bit more inclined to purchase. So again, you want to make sure you have a healthy mix, long and short tail, branded, unbranded, that sort of thing. And then this would be your holy grail. Now, what is you going to do with all of this? So you're actually going to use those keywords everywhere. And I don't just mean on your website. We're going to use it all over all of your platforms. So it's going to be on site, it's going to be off site on any like business listings, it'll be in directories, it'll be in descriptions. If you're doing a podcast, you want to use these terms and what you're talking about, it'll be in titles, everything. So we'll get into a little bit more detail on that. But really, you want to make sure, and I did mention this already, but fresh, high quality content and long and short tail keywords are key. This is what the search engines are looking for. Now, I'm going to give you some on-site SEO best practices. Again, with the workshop and the course, you will get our entire guideline of every single detail on the best practices. So URL, how long it should be, what type of keywords it should be, title tag, what the character limits are, what it should look like. Here's examples, all of that. So I will briefly show it to you, but when you sign up for the workshop and get the course, you'll also get our detailed best practices. But so the key things you want to consider on your webpage are, and this is in order of priority by the algorithm. So it is what is going to have the highest weight in determining where you rank. So your URLs, your title tags, your meta descriptions, and your headers, like your H1, H2 tags, those are the highest weight and the most influential in where you're going to show up. Then comes the body content, the link text, the internal linking, the alt tags, and file names. So let me just briefly show you where to find all these things. So let me close that real quick. Hold on, let me turn off SEO Quake real quick. Actually, I'm going to show you, keep SEO Quake on for a sec. So SEO Quake is just a Chrome extension right up here that I like to use to just view the SEO on a page. So right off the bat, we have Run the Edge. URL wise, we are in the challenges section of this web page under Run the Year. So you see challenges, Run the Year, very clear as to what you're looking at. And the keywords are right there in the top. So now I'm going to go just to, let's see. Okay, there we go. Okay, runtheedge.com. So the next thing after the URL, also very clear, there's no extra words or anything like that in this. After you do the URL, then you want to take a look at your title tag. So in this case, we have innovative fitness challenges, long-term benefits, Run the Edge. And you have the meta description. Where these show up are, and as you can see, we also have fitness challenges, fitness experience. So we have keywords used in both. This then is what shows up in the search result. If you do not put this in there, then the Google algorithms will pick, or if you go beyond character limit of the 155, Google will put in whatever it feels like from your page. It'll just pull snippets. So if your address is in the footer, it could pull your address and then it shows up there. We've seen it happen with clients where their entire description of the website is their address with a phone number and that's it. So you need to make sure that you fill this in. All right, so then we come back over to Run the Edge. So now we've gone through the URL, we've gone through the page title, and we've gone through the meta description. You can also see the page title just by hovering over, and that's what you find at the top of the tab. Okay, then you get into your header tags, so your H1, H2 tags. So right off the bat, we see fitness experiences, virtual challenges. We even see fitness challenges here. So we've already capitalized on above the fold in the first 100 words of our page. We already have key terms that we're trying to show up for. Then after you have the header tags, you get into the actual body content. So here we have virtual fitness challenges, another keyword right there. We have RT tracker, another keyword, fitness journey, another keyword. So we then sprinkle our keywords throughout. And you don't want to just use the same one keyword throughout every single page. Google likes you to, so I guess an example would be if you're a coffee company and you sell just coffee. They don't want you to just talk about like, this is what it costs for our coffee. They want you to talk about how to brew the coffee. What's the best methodology? What are the best filters? What are the best machines? They want you to create a web of like, here's my coffee, but these are all the topics that people also are looking for in the experience of my coffee. So this is the entire web, and that's how you're going to do it. You're going to create a content web of like, this is my core topic, and these are all the subcategories that relate that people will also be looking for if they're interested in my coffee. All right, so then we go back to, then we have link text. So, and interlinking. So you don't want to say click here at any point. You want to include key terms or directional language in your link text, in your buttons. So pick your perfect challenge, sign me up. This not only tells the user what to get when they click on it, but it's also telling the algorithms what to expect when they get to that next page. And this also helps with interlinking. How do the different pages relate so the algorithms can provide you with the best page for your search? And somewhere else that this also ends up translating really well into is ads. They now have a lot of AI automations with the various types of ads where you can allow it, like it's called a dynamic search ad. It can serve users the best page of your website based on their actual search result instead of just giving them this one landing page. So if someone is looking for MCAT tutoring, and they typed in med school coach, it would give them the med school coach homepage. But if they were looking for MCAT tutoring and med school coach has a blanket search ad that has an MCAT tutoring keyword, it's actually going to give them the MCAT tutoring page because that's what they actually typed in. So it goes way beyond just the SEO and your organic traffic, and it really infiltrates into paid search. So SEO is so critically important. Okay, last thing that we're going to touch on for this portion of the on-site is your images and alt tags. So every file name needs to have keywords in it. So for instance, this one has Run the Edge Fitness Challenge, a marathon metal hands. And then it also needs an alt tag. So if the image isn't showing, it needs the details of what that image was about or what that page was about, so we can tell the algorithm. So in this case, it has Run the Edge Fitness Challenge, marathon metal, run 3,521 miles across America. So you've told, even if this image for some reason doesn't load, you already told the engines what it's about. You've now had 2 more opportunities to put in keywords. So you've had an opportunity to have your keywords in your URL, your title, your meta description, your headers, your body content, your links, the way in which it links, your image file names, and your alt text. So that is 8 different ways that you can just get keywords within your page to help you rank. And you can do this across all your pages. All right, now jumping over to offsite SEO. There's a couple components I really want to talk about here. The first we're going to dive into is backlinking. So domain authority is how the engines, not just Google, but how the search engines view you as an authoritative figure. So it's based on your expertise, again, the authority level, and then trust. Do you seem like a trustworthy site? And then your domain rating comes from how often other domains are linking to you. So it doesn't matter if you have a YouTube channel and you have 1,000 videos and every single one of them links to your site. You're actually only really being counted once. It's about the number of domains, the linking websites right here. And what you also want to make sure is that they are of quality. There's tools out there that'll allow you to like join all these spam backlinking strategies. And what it does is it puts you on like a web page that just has a full list of businesses. That's actually not doing anything for you. Google's smarter than that. They know what you're doing and you don't get credit for it. You can actually get dinged for being on those spam sites. You will be able to, if you use something like Ahrefs, you will be able to see that all in here. So that way you can go ahead and block it, remove it. You can add do not follows. Again, in the workshop, we can tell you, go into a little bit more detail onto these things if you have questions about it, and we can show you how to do it. But so domain rating, you always want to be increasing your backlinks. You want links from other domains of high authority. You want to make sure the way the terms, the linking text, so this is actual text that was on their page, has keywords in it. So like run the edge, runner's journey, that sort of thing. You want them to have keywords in it, as well as then linking to your website. Okay. The other thing that I really want to point out, and I see this mistake happen all the time, is social media. People don't realize that social media is actually, the social platforms are search engines in themselves, and you need to be treating them like search engines. So for instance, our profile right here, we have marketing course, we have businesses, we have marketing strategies, business again, we have Google Ads revenue, and then I even have market at the top. So now there are 5+ opportunities right here where just at the top, the social algorithms are already able to see what my page is about. And then on top of that, every single one of my posts has key terms in the on-screen hook, as well as in the captions, as well as in what I verbally say. So you really want to make sure that you are capitalizing on it from not just a social profile perspective, but also throughout all your content. All right, now, hold on, let me head back over. Okay, now we're going to get into local SEO. And I really want to make sure that we touch on this, because it doesn't just apply to solely local businesses. It also applies to businesses that are virtual, but have customers in general, like clustered areas, I would say.
I think of Heather in the group, is she said there's an online and mobile speech pathologist. I feel like this is a perfect example for her.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so something people don't realize is that Google, a lot of people ignore Google business listings. This is obviously how you show up in Google Maps. And if they're like, oh, I'm not going to show up in Google Maps, it doesn't matter. But it's also this knowledge panel on the right-hand side. It can show up for any search result. But it goes beyond just having your profile built out. There are huge opportunities, and Google has said itself, you leverage this tool to its full capacity, you will get a boost. And it doesn't just want you to set it and forget it. Just like everything else, Google wants you to do updates. So even if you do not have a brick and mortar local presence, you can leverage this to significantly increase your organic traffic and presence. So what you first want to do, go through the Google business profile, fill out every single detail that you can to its maximum potential. Then what you want to do is you want to go to edit services, and you want to think of all the regions, areas, commonalities of where you serve people. So for instance, this business has an actual location in Seekonk, but they also serve East Providence. A lot of their customers, not that they deliver to East Providence, but a lot of their customers come from East Providence to use their product. So we don't just do keywords for Seekonk. And so I guess to step back, when you first set this up, it will make you choose a primary category, and you can choose an additional category. It doesn't tell you that you can do it on a local level, but this is where you get the most bang for your buck. You take those terms and you can add as many of these as you want. It just doesn't tell you that. So it's just a little hack that you wouldn't know unless you've done this for some time. But what you want to do is you want to take a look at your keyword list and that search console list and see the ways people are actually typing in your site to get to you. And then you want to use those terms, as I've done here, but then do it for one for each location. So you can, I mean, we have other variations of Great Springs where we have it for the 5 surrounding towns, because that's where everyone is coming from to use their product. So we want to make sure if someone types in water refill station near me, water refill station, East Providence or spring water near me, that we're always showing up. And this is how we're going to make sure that we are trumping our competitors. The other big component that you really need to take into account is photos and updates, but you can do it combined in one. So adding an update is essentially like a social post, but on Google Business. You have 3 different options. So you can just add an update. This can be anything about any update about your business. It can be an update about employees, a product, a service, anything like that. An offer sounds pretty self-explanatory, but discounts, things that are going to drive conversions. And then an event, if you're doing a grand opening, or if you're doing a Black Friday event, whatever it could be. So what you actually want to do, you want to add in a description of your offer. I would always just add your video or photo right here because it'll suffice the need to do it separately. And then always add a button with the option, with a link to your website. This helps to ensure that it's also constantly connecting back to your website and you're gaining that juice there. But what this does, if you want to do this 1 to 2 times a week, and I say you want to do the videos and photos within it because otherwise you separately need to be uploading a video or a photo. But if you can just do it right here, you can actually get 2 in 1. What we will show you, because again, this starts to feel like a lot as I go through all this, but we'll show you at the end. We'll tell you about a way that you can actually automate this process. So you can have blogs feeding your updates into Google Business and you don't actually need to touch it. You're just creating the blog and it automatically happens for you. So we'll come back to that, but at bare minimum, you need to do at least 1 update a week on your Google Business for 90 days to really start to see a huge impact. Again, it's not just about that local result, but it will boost your overall because Google rewards people that use their products and frequently. Okay, then we don't want to forget about Bing, but Bing's super easy of a connection. This is another automation that'll make your life so much easier in the sense that this isn't going to require extra work. All you have to do is sign in. You can sign in surprisingly with your Google login, and then it'll give you the option to import your business profile now. You can do that. Just set up how often you want it to sync. It'll pull all the details that you're putting in your Google business profile right into Bing, and you can this is a set it and forget it. So that's a nice one. But make sure that even if you are not a physically located business, any area that you would service, or again, if you are a virtual company, but you find that most of your clients come from California, Texas, and Florida, include those in that services section. Okay. Heading over to technical SEO. So a few things we're going to touch on here. The first is going to be site speed and performance, and I'm actually going to just couple that into mobile optimizations. So site speed and performance, the reason this is so important is at this point in time, the algorithms index mobile versions of your site first. So it doesn't matter if you mainly have a desktop presence, it is going to index the mobile version of your page, of your website first. You can come over to pagespeed.web.dev and check the page speed of your website. In this case, our client is 98% desktop performance, but they have over 1,000 pages on their site, which can be really heavy of a load when you think of mobile. So if you look at it this way, you have this giant site and you're shoving it all into this big desktop or this laptop, but then you need all of that same information to now be compressed even smaller into your phone. And it's just harder on the system. So inevitably, you'll almost always have a lower mobile page speed, but if you can get it above 75%, then you're in good shape. But with page speed, it'll give you recommendations beneath if you have any lag. So this one's at 80, but you can see our best practices are at 96. And really, it's just about some of the code, and you can always optimize it further. Okay, so the other thing too is if you're someone that uses HubSpot, they do a really awesome job. They have a feature called AMP where all of their blogs are automatically mobile optimized with great page speed, so you don't even have to worry about this. All right, so now we're going to get into website architecture and what that looks like. So your website architecture is essentially that outline of your website. What you want to make sure is that we'll go back over here, every single page of your website is able to be found within 3 clicks of your homepage. You don't want to send people. So for instance, let's try, oh, maybe this site's not working at the moment. Okay. For some reason it's not updating the URL, but okay. So you want to make sure that if you are doing the challenges page in this case and a marathon. So it would be runtheedge.com/challenges/marathon. You don't want to go any farther than that. So if you're then sending them to the product, you would then have like runtheedge.com product, a marathon, or like a marathon, whatever else. You don't want to do.
Court, it's working fine on my end. Do you want me to it might just be too many things in your browser. Do you want me to share my screen?
No, it's fine. We'll just keep going.
Okay.
But the goal here is that you want to make sure that in the URL, it is always within 3 steps of the homepage. And that's because not only from a user experience perspective, from the shareability of your URLs, but also from an algorithms perspective, they want to be able to, like, the crawlers need to crawl through and then find their way back. And if you're like 6 steps below, they're probably only going to go back 3, and then they're going to try and move on to the next web, and they're actually going to miss a big chunk of your website. So you want to make sure you have that web, and that within 3 sections of that web are all of the pages of your site. All right, and then we have schema markup. So this one is one that a lot of people don't know about. Hold on, let me log in. Apologies about that. Okay, so schema markup. So essentially, this allows you to have featured snippets within a search result. So here is a featured snippet where you see not just the regular search result at the top, but you have all these other snippets below. If you ever look up a recipe and you see the recipe right at the top before a search result, that's also a featured snippet. Having a company on the right-hand side, that's also a featured snippet. These things come from structured data. Structured data is in this case, your schema as well. So something like Schema Helper can help you create all this for you. So for instance, if you're in HubSpot, I would always recommend using Schema Helper. And what you do is you literally just select what type of featured snippet you want. So if you're a book, then it can be listed in Google Books section. The courses, if it's an event, then you can show up for the Google Events results that show up before any of the search results. So it really helps you get featured at the top. News articles, you show up in the news section. So whatever is the appropriate title for your page, you can then do that. Let me go back to the homepage. And then for your homepage, I would always recommend doing both, designating your site as a website, but also the organization. You only need the organization on the homepage, but all you do is press update and publish, and it's on there, and it's on there for life. So that's all you have to do there. It's super easy, but it's critical to be able to show up in those longer results. And those first results, or those long results, have an 80% higher chance of click-through rate than just a regular lower result. All right, so let me find, might have lost my, hold on, I might have overwhelmed my computer. Give me 1 sec. Hold on, let me just try and open the deck one more time.
I can share mine if you want.
I'll just open it again. I think I just overwhelmed it.
You never.
All right, so let me get back to where we were and share. I appreciate your patience. All right, we are back in action. Let me just share this. All right, are we back?
Yep, we're good. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so advanced SEO opportunities. People don't, so at this point in time, so many people have Alexa, Siri, Google Assistant, that sort of thing, and they don't really realize how much their SEO actually could allow them to show up in your Alexa results that it gives you. So if you ask, like, give me a local bakery, or what are events I could go do with my kids today, your business could actually show up for that if you set your business up in your SEO for it. So in order to do that, one of the biggest things you have to consider is the natural language and the way in which people ask questions to Alexa, Siri, and Google Assistant. And then you want to leverage that for your site. So outside of the Google Keyword Planner, which we've already touched on, and how long tail keywords, which is more of that natural language key term, how long tail keywords can be found there. I'm going to show you 2 other tricks that will not only work just for Google Voice, but it's also going to give you a ton of content that you can use in your social profiles. So, all right, the first is answer the public. Here you can type in a short key phrase that relates to your site, and it will literally give you all sorts of topics that are the long tail natural language questions people are asking. You go and then you just create content around these things. And then index it. That lives on your site. Now you have an opportunity when someone asks for what is marketing consulting services to their Alexa, you now have a chance to show up as that result. The other opportunity, and I love this one, is in Google search itself. So same term that we typed in to answer the public, I've typed in to Google search. And what you actually see is the people also ask. People also ask are the top questions that people ask the search engine related to that. And not only can you select any of these, what you want to do is 2 things. You want to first take a look at these, look at the articles, and do it better. The other thing too is the more you select these, they're just going to keep coming. So you have a plethora of content topics that you could use for your social, for your website, and to get yourself into that voice, the voice search. But the most important thing of these are actually like, Alexa, how do I become a marketing consultant? That's something someone could actually ask Alexa. And now if you are able to get into this featured aspect, again, that schema helper will get you featured right here. But you take a look at this article, you write something more robust, you now have a chance to not only show up here in the featured snippet, but you also have a chance to show up on someone's Alexa's device in their kitchen. So definitely something that's underutilized.
All for free.
Yes, all for free. There are voice search recognition agencies, I guess, as you will, out there that will charge you to do this. They're really just honestly doing SEO for you, or like giving you topics to add to your website. You don't need to pay them to do it. You're already going to do it. Just make sure that you consider the natural language in mind and that you're creating content for that natural language as well. All right. So again, I touched on how this is really important for local, especially because so many people will use the Alexa and the series for local results of the bakery example, or what's the closest Whole Foods to me, that sort of thing. Featured snippets. This is where if you're a company that creates recipes, you can show up. Alexa can be reading off your recipe because you had the best SEO, you had that featured snippet, and you were able to show up. And then the other thing I really want to point out with voice search is if you look at the desktop algorithm as one algorithm, and this is able to carry a huge weight. Then you look at the mobile algorithm as another algorithm, and it can carry a good weight, but it's a little smaller. Now you have these voice devices that are even less intelligent. So you need to make sure that the load that you're handing them isn't too much for them to carry. And that's where page speed really plays into the voice aspect, because these devices are just not as capable as your desktop. So page speed has a huge impact, because if these devices can't scan your page, you're not going to get searched. All right. Now, the other highly neglected one, and often people don't realize what's happened, is video and podcasts. People think video and podcasts, for the most part, should be on their social media, on their YouTube channels, and that's kind of it. And that's all they really need to be. But that's a big mistake, because yes, you want them there, but you also want to leverage these on your website. Essentially, you want your website to be a hub for your community. You want to have your videos and podcasts available on your website. You want to keep people on your website as long as possible. Give them as much content as you can. But how you do it also impacts whether or not that video and podcast is going to show up in search engines. So you want to take in a few considerations, but the first thing I'm going to show you is something that is a requirement of Google that a lot of people don't realize, and it's a newer requirement, and that's that each page on your site should have its own video page. So let me click on this. This is all it needs to be. Oh, hold on.
Sorry, Courtney, just to correct you. Each video on your site, doesn't
Yes.
matter where you put the video on the site, you can have it on the homepage, you can have it on the blog, whatever. You also have to have a dedicated separate video only page
Yes.
for the same video.
So that way Google can properly index that video itself, as well as it will separately index that video as a portion of a page. So on the video page, all you need is the video itself, embed it from a YouTube or Loom or Vimeo, whatever you use, but embed it from the other site so you're not having to like constantly upload files, download files, that sort of thing. All it needs is the video itself, a title that has some kind of key term in it. In this case, it's their product name, and then a description. That's all it simply needs to have. And then you can create your hub on your site of your videos and your podcasts, and they can all live in one place. But you also can incorporate it within your pages where it makes sense. So now you've not only given the search engines your YouTube video, and maybe you put it on your social, but now you've given it an entire video page that it can index. You've given it a video hub that it can index all these within all those other pages. And then another, maybe it's a blog or a homepage where it was also relevant there and it was used there. So now you've given it 5 opportunities to find the exact same one video instead of just posting it to your YouTube or to your social.
If you have videos on your site right now, I would not be shocked if you went into Google Search Console and you clicked on the videos tab and it said that you had 0 videos in search. And that's because you don't have this page.
Mm-hmm. So the other thing too is when you upload that video to YouTube, and I say YouTube because if you're going to embed it into YouTube, which is what I recommend, sticking with Google products, you want to make sure that from the get-go that file name for that video is very keyword rich, that title is keyword rich, that description is keyword rich. And the way you link to it anywhere within any site, on-site, off-site, it is always keyword rich and it tells exactly what that video is about. That's how you're going to get that video to list. Do the same thing for podcasts. Even if it's just audio, do the same thing. Okay, now, this was a lot. So I'm going to give you a couple ways in which that you can capitalize on some of these things with some automation. So blogs, if possible, you want a weekly blog. Something that we've found that's very helpful for our clients is actually HubSpot's AI blog feature. It's similar to ChatGPT, but it doesn't do the ChatGPT trigger words like unlock, master, whatever else. All those phrases that we're also used to seeing, and we can just like look at it and know it's ChatGPT. HubSpot creates a much more natural language AI blog, and it's super easy to do. You can create a blog in 10 minutes and it's already primarily SEO optimized. You just need to style it to the style of your site, to your look and feel. And that's all you have to do. It gives you the header tag. It gives you those H2, H3 tags. So it's literally all there. And then you just want to add a call to action at the end. Super easy to do. The other thing that if you are a business, again, going back to the local side, if you are a business that has local presence or frequent customers coming from certain locations, there is a way in HubSpot using their HubDB, which is a database, so it essentially looks and works like an Excel, to create dynamic pages for every single one of these locations in a matter of minutes. So an example that I'm going to show you is so first, this is what a HubDB database looks like. It is literally just a line item for each new page. All you do is fill this in, and now you have a new page for every single one of them. We did this for a client. We launched 800 pages in a matter of hours. And this client, from just their paid search alone, they have over 30,000 new visitors every single month. And in 4 weeks, their traffic to their site increased 40% as a result of these pages. And their sales increased 26% on a product that was a dying product. It had been just on the decline for over a year. And their sales increased 26%. And the only thing we did was these pages. And how it works is that essentially you create a blank template page. Well, not blank, it's filled in, but just like the dynamic portion is blank. So
it's like a Mad Libs.
Yes, it's very much like Mad Libs or fill in the blank. So the best MCAT tutors in blank. And then you come down here, our tutors don't just know blank. Anywhere where you see this space, an extra space, practice medicine in blank, featured MCAT tutors who know blank, and then you would see MCAT tutors. So this is just the base template page. And what happens is for every single region, every single city, it now fills in and creates a whole new page, which I'll show you from the top. So now it says best MCAT tutors in New York. If you scroll down, you see now it's filled in New York here, New York here, New York here. Now the MCAT tutors fill in New York here. It pulls in the MCAT tutors from that same Excel. It pulls in the New York City medical schools. And then you keep going and it's pulling in more New York City here. Beyond that, you come over to the title tag. It's pulled in New York City into the title tag. You come over into the meta description. It's pulled in New York City into the meta description. You look at the URL. It's pulled it in here. It pulls it in on everything. So historically, dynamic pages used to be one page like this, where you would then just have like the dynamic variable bracket in it. And it would just change that single page to have just different variables. Now, the way HubSpot's built this, it creates a whole new page for every single one, which means another opportunity for you to list. You now have specific pages and specific locations that you show up for, that you can show up for MCAT tutoring near Boston. You're going to show up. MCAT tutoring near me, but you're located in Boston. That Boston page is going to show up. So you have so much more opportunity and so many more pages. You've just created so much more value to not only Google, but also to your customer. And you get in front of the customers that are looking for your service right there. And again, this can be if you just service an area or you have common customers in an area, it's okay to do it that way too. It's still a white hat practice to do it that way. But that way, you're also not creating an entirely new page for every single one. So for another instance, we have a water company, and they just have one page for their locations. And every time they open a new location and their goal is 1,000 locations, we just add a new line item to their HubDB right up here. We just add a new line item, press publish, and that whole page is created in an instant. And now you just index it, and there you go. You have that new page. It can now be found, and all you had to do was spend 2 minutes doing it. All right. So the last thing is Zapier. So another area where people lose a lot of time, energy, and the ability to have a sustainable approach is through constantly having to post things to various platforms. So something we do, for instance, is our Market Like CMO Instagram. Every time something is posted to that Instagram, we've set it up so Zapier has a trigger that automatically pulls that video, the first line of that caption as a title, and the caption itself as a description into YouTube and post it to our YouTube. We don't have to touch it. We don't have to do a thing. You could set character limits and how long you want to be. You can set all sorts of details. We like to go in and just finesse the titles a little bit, but you can do the same for your Google business. So that update that you need once a week, you can have a blog posting to your website, use Zapier to create a trigger to have that blog then post to your Google business profile. You now have that one update a week. You're now able to show up higher in Google search results, and you didn't actually have to do any additional work. And on top of that, you created that blog with HubSpot AI, and it took you 10 minutes. So you were able to accomplish all of that in a matter of 10 minutes. These things don't have to be super time consuming, and they don't have to feel like so much work that you can't keep up with it. It can be sustainable. And again, in the workshop, if you have questions or need help with this type of thing, we're happy to help you get set up with HubDB or Zapier or whatever automations you need to help ensure that you can keep up with your SEO without having to send it outbound. And the reason we don't promote outbound is even though we do help some clients with ours, or majority of our clients with ours, with their SEO, I don't recommend it because that's where you start to lose, number one, the brand identity. You lose a little bit of your voice when you do that. But on top of that, I come from an agency world, and I've seen how the 10K, 20K a month on SEO actually results only in 3 to 4 hours a month of solid real work. Then there's some reporting, and the rest is project management and account management. So really, where possible, don't bleed out over an SEO agency. You can do it in-house. We can help teach you how to automate it and how to do it. And now I'll hand it back over to Kelly. I've spoke a lot.
No, that's fine, Courtney. It's awesome. So I know that we're running late for everybody. We have about 10 minutes to just do a quick wrap up on the workshop and answer some questions. Anything we don't get to, we will follow up in an email, and we'll also send this to everybody. So to begin with, thank you very much for joining us today. I hope you found today very helpful. I know it was a lot, but it hopefully really kind of inspired you in many different ways and gave you some ideas as to where you can get running right now. If you're feeling overwhelmed or you're stuck in a business rut, like happens to everybody, you want a deeper dive on how to grow your business beyond just SEO. As Court mentioned, the best thing is our 4-week online workshop. The workshop's intended to help solve your biggest business challenge, to help you build a valuable business with the resources that you already have, not expending more, not getting more tools, not getting more third parties, using the tools you have and making them smarter to work for you. It also gives you a very clear roadmap on how to attract new and repeat customers, because most often they're much cheaper. Using our strategies just this year, we had a client who generated over $6 million already in revenue from Google Ads. It works. So as part of our workshop, you'll also get our Market Like a CMO course. The course is intended to help business owners to grow, attract more customers, and boost their revenue all on their own. Each week of our 4-week workshop, we will include hands-on group sessions with Courtney and I, and you'll get personalized support if you're talking about the HubDB or the Zapier, whatever is the really thing that you need to connect the dots. We focus on practical strategies with direct access to our expertise and your peers. Plus, we're an awesome community of people, professionals, and we aim for great results only. We are also offering only very limited spots, so we ensure the very intimate atmosphere, very helpful and hands-on, and to maximize impact for those who attend. So it is first come, first serve. And we will do it every month. So please be sure to sign up today in order to secure your spot for August. Our first one is going to be the first full week of August. And Courtney's going to provide a QR code so you can get started on that. And we hope to see you there. And after that, let's do some Q&A, Court. So
You
I have a
can
bunch
scan
of
the QR
questions.
code here, or we've also placed it here, so it's just a little bigger, so you can scan it while we go through the Q&A. So what questions do you have for me?
All right, let's do it. Rapid fire. When should you use a landing page? And I can jump on this one too if you need.
Landing page should be used anytime you have a specific campaign and you're trying to just get people into a funnel, whether that is to capture information, run ads. You can use it for, it doesn't necessarily, and I say campaign, it doesn't necessarily have to be an ad campaign. If you just have a singular initiative that you're trying to drive people to a specific action, then use the landing page. Make sure you remove any navigation or anything, because you want to make sure there's only one action that you want on that landing page. You don't want to busy them up with all different opportunities to leave the initiative they came and the call to action you want them to do.
And with that, landing pages, one thing to keep in mind, a lot of resources, HubSpot, for example, does not index in search, does not landing pages, and that's intentional. They want them to be used for whatever your specific initiative is, whether it's email marketing or search, a social initiative or a registration thing or paid ads. It will not by default put that in your sitemap and index it in search. It doesn't tell you that up front. All web pages and all blog posts otherwise will do it. Landing pages is one thing you have to go in intentionally, go to your sitemap and physically add that landing page and say, yes, do you want to index? So whatever tool you're using, make sure if you want that landing page to be able to be searched and show up in search results, you have to activate it.
All right, what else yet?
All right. Is WordPress better than Squarespace for SEO?
Ooh.
Oh, okay. I know. That's how I felt.
All right. So WordPress is better than Squarespace. But both of them actually leech some of your SEO. So Squarespace and Webflow and Wix, they all take a little bit of the juice for themselves and then pass the rest on to you. WordPress, the other thing that we've run into WordPress in the last year is we've had a high number because of the open source and the ability for people to be able to edit it. We've had huge amounts of people come to us with hacking. And I'm talking law firms that have like the kitty that's going like this and like
or the slot machines that say
slot machines. Yeah. So WordPress isn't as secure and stable as it used to be. 2.5 years ago, we would have probably recommended WordPress, but at this point in time, our biggest recommendation is HubSpot. It's the best for SEO. It's the best for connecting all your tools into each other. It's the best for being able to get from the moment someone sees your site all the way through the entire customer journey and watch them in one space and be able to get smart and automate all your processes along the way. So I hope that answers that question.
If somebody has questions about, if they're considering a different platform, before you jump to WordPress or Squarespace, send us a message. We're happy to suggest other options. If you're worried about SEO, they are not where you want to move, period. Not that they're bad for other things. Squarespace, we actually had our site on Squarespace up until recently because we didn't care about SEO. It wasn't part of our business need model. And we did SEO for other people. We didn't need it for our own business. But it's very useful and pretty, and it's user friendly, but it's not going to be your SEO engine. And one that I would really steer away from is, I think honestly is probably the worst, is Webflow. It cannibalizes most of your SEO and you don't know it. And then when you want to optimize, you have to manually do every little step. You cannot automate anything. All right, moving on. Dynamic pages, do they have to be within 3 clicks? Oh, I read this wrong. Dynamic pages don't have to be in 3 clicks throughout the website though, right?
No, you still necessarily, you do want it within 3 clicks if possible, but like so for instance, we had med school coach / MCAT tutoring / the location. So
when she's saying 3 clicks, she's talking also not about the navigation only, it's about the breadcrumb. So the main website /A /B / your final page. You want it to be within that.
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
No, thank you for clarifying.
So I kind of answered this in the chat already, but I would love your way in a little more. So the question was, what do you mean by fresh? And I said that I gave generalization as to having updated content, new content, but I know the minimum for new content is once a month, but really that's not the best practice. What is your rule of thumb for best practices for new content?
I think I mentioned it, but if you can post a blog once a week, that would be an ideal. And again, in the best practices that you would get with workshop in the course, we tell you exactly how long that blog would be, like how to get those topics, all that stuff. But within a full blog, so the optimal character length, the optimal word count of a blog, you want those once a month or once a week. Once a month is okay if that's all you can do, but once a week is ideal, and getting that index so that way you actually are viewed as a site that constantly is providing frequent relevant content. So when I say fresh, I mean frequency. So the more often you can update things. And I guess another thing too, you don't always have to reinvent the wheel with a blog. Fresh content could be taking a blog from 3 years back, updating it to the trends now and reposting it. That is still considered fresh content.
Especially if they were successful a few years ago and they're suddenly getting a lot of traffic. Those are the ones to jump on, update them, and they're going to really skyrocket your SEO. Another question, can Google algorithm updates impact our business rankings? And if so, how should we handle and recover from that?
So they can, it's not as dramatic as like there are times in the past where it was pretty dramatic. They've done a really good job of it's slow releases in terms of things that are going to be dramatic. But in general, it won't. The biggest thing to do for you is Google actually offers an update sign up. So you can, or like go search for Google updates, algorithm updates, and you can actually, they list all the algorithm updates that are happening or coming. So you can just stay in the know that way. But to be honest, with all of our sites, we don't ever have any issues because we're so SEO optimized. It doesn't really matter what kind of minor tweaks they're making to the algorithm. We're still going to show up in the first position because of the fact that we have SEO optimized to all of the best practices on the back end.
30 seconds, last question before we can go, and then we'll send follow up for the other questions. What is keyword stuffing?
Keyword stuffing is when you take a term like, let's say it was fitness challenges, and you put fitness challenge in your header and in your next header and your next header and your next header, and then you put it throughout everything on your page, and you basically have the same word fitness challenge shown 40 times in a page. That's keyword stuffing, because you think that if you just put this in every single sentence that it's going to show up. Ideally, any term you really want to rank for, do it 3 to 5 times on a page. And then make sure that you're using the other terms too. So if you're only ever using fitness challenge on that one page and you have it 40 times on there, that's keyword stuffing. If you use it 5 times, but then you also talk about the fitness journey and the fitness experience, and you talk about virtual challenges, and you talk about the equipment to wear and the app to track it on and connections that it makes. Now you have all these other keywords that connect, and it creates the entire essential conversation of how these things work and interact with other aspects of the customer experience. And you're able to build a more robust page that the search engines want. In the past, like 10 years ago, keyword stuffing was something that like got you somewhere, but at this point you actually get dinged if you're putting the same term on a page 40 times.
You also, on the exact note, don't want to take 5 different keywords, kind of shove them into a sentence that's not legible and think that you're going to get 5 different variations of keywords. No, you're going to get nothing. So I'm so sorry to have to cut the block. Court, go ahead.
One more thing. Keep in mind your ratio. So just make sure that if it feels like you're using that word too much, you're probably using it.
You are.
Yeah.
You are. Click here. Don't use it everywhere. You don't even get any juice from it anyway. Yeah. Okay, so I'm sorry to cut everybody off. I know there's a couple more questions, but I promise we will send a follow-up with emails, and we will send a recording in the next few days. I really hope this was helpful. If you guys have any questions, by all means, send us a message. You can email us, or you can reach out on our website, or you can schedule a solutions call. We hope to see you at the workshop in oh my gosh, almost a week or so. But otherwise, I just really hope best of luck with everything, and we really hope this is helpful.
Thank you.